There's the opening screen. Okay, so let's move on. That's me, Paul Mosenson, long-time media buyer. But let's start off with, did it work? That's my mantra, right? What answers are you currently getting from your marketing agency? How do you answer that? Your media campaigns, did it work? Are you spending your media budget wisely? Are you tracking performance, and do you understand it? Do you know what percentage of your media is wasted? That would be nice, right? Do you want to know? And what would you do to reduce that waste? And that's what this is all about. So about me, oh, that's my beard look when I did a speaking engagement. But it's media planning and buying has always been my passion, and so is customer journey optimization. Always has been. And the focus is combining my experience with the right data and the right strategy to bring you the results you desire. I try to do it all, but I use strategic freelancers as well. Lots of experience, near 35 years, going back to the old days at Nutrisystem, a franchise, and buying media for every agency I worked at until I started my own firm, NewSpark Marketing, then NewSpark Consulting as a fractional CMO, fractional media director. Our agenda today is basically tracking the buyer's journey, talking about attribution and what that means. Then we'll talk about pixels and cookies and how they work together. We'll talk about tracking media channels that you could be using, and then how to make decisions with strategy. And then at the end, a little fun with AI creative. And there is an appendix here, which I'll be sending out to everybody with some more technical stuff on attribution and how that works. But let's start here with two media buying strategies. There's really two kinds of media buying: branding and direct response, or I call performance media. It is a difference. With branding, the whole idea is to be remembered when you have a need. That's why people spend a lot of money on advertising. Oh, I need an insurance company. I know Geico. I didn't have to look that up. I know who it is, right? That kind of thing. But usually requires consistent and high spend advertising for people to remember you. If you're going to like flight it or do a few weeks at a time, it's not going to work. There's so much marketing involved here with branding. But today we're going to talk about, obviously performance media. Even with branding, there's no magic pill of how much to spend anyway. In the old days, reach, frequency, how many impressions, but still you don't know if it works or what mediums work or what creatives work. We just know that something worked or didn't work. So with direct response media, the goal is to drive conversions, and that's basically a lead on a website, an in-store promotion where you sign up for, a website activity, or a purchase, something that we can track on a website or a landing page that's attributable to media. Campaigns can be shorter, long-term, depending on your offer. And with proper tracking, most mediums can be measured based on performance. However, though, broadcast TV or cable and radio do not rely specifically on direct clicks to a website, so the calls to action need to be memorable and seen or heard effectively, and we'll show that in a few minutes. And of course, need to trust attribution modeling to gauge a medium's effect on a conversion that might come later. So let's talk about attribution. Look at the sample here. Shoppers looking for a new TV may start by reading online reviews, then click on a Google ad, which takes them to your website. Later that week, they could hear a radio ad that your store is having a sale on TVs, and they might revisit your website. But it may not be until maybe they get an email with a 20% off coupon that they finally complete a purchase. So you can see what happens here. It gets pretty complex, which is why attribution exists. It's not perfect, but it's the best that we can do to track the buyer's journey. Here's some industry stats, believe it or not. Only 7% of marketers say their attribution efforts are excellent. It is hard. And 58% of marketers say their attribution effort needs improvement or worse. And almost half of all marketers say they're challenged with tracking activity between buyer stages and measuring cross-channel campaigns. It's really not easy. We'll show some examples of some solutions, but you gotta, trust the data and trust the tracking. It's not perfect, as you can see, but we still gotta have ways to determine what works so we can spend your money wisely. Here's a quote here, by the way. There's an inability to manage and monitor campaigns holistically, says the VP of measurement at IAB. Clients should encourage whoever's managing media buying, like me, to centralize data as much as possible. And there are tools to do that. But let's do a definition of what attribution is. It's media measurement. Attribution refers to the process of determining which marketing channels and touch points contribute to a customer's decision to make a purchase or complete a desired action. So this really helps marketers understand which strategies and campaigns are effective and which ones are not, enabling us to make data-driven decisions and optimize marketing spend. Here's some other definitions you may have heard before if you're a media buyer or not, but this is called the view conversion, usually tracked with display networks or social networks. It's basically a view-through conversion happens when a user sees an ad and does not click on it, but later completes a conversion on the advertiser's site. And that's done through cookies. We'll talk about that in a minute. The assisted conversion is a click conversion, but it's not a final conversion. It's a scenario where I might click on a website and not do anything. And so retargeting and other messages bring me back to do that conversion. So the assisted conversion is contribution, but may not be the final conversion. It's like if you click on a Facebook ad, that's a click. And then you go back a couple of days later to the website through organic search and make a purchase, where Facebook gets the assisted conversion credit. So again, we have to pay attention if your business model is conversion driven. That's the whole idea of all this tracking, right? Is you're conversion driven. But we have to understand your buyer's journey, because that affects a lot of things in the attribution model. I have to decide, which are the most effective channels, so we can allocate your marketing resources properly. And attribution, of course, helps improve ROI, because we need to optimize campaigns to build profit. So. But, cookies and pixels, right? They're not the same, but they're close, right? But, there's some definitions here, and again, everybody will get this, but, a cookie is a small piece of data that's stored in the user's computer by their web browser when they visit a website. Cookies can remember lots of information about the user, how they logged in, what's in their shopping cart. Everything that happens on a website you could track with cookies. Pages they visit. It's important to track those people and their engagement, and it works back with Google Analytics and things like that to see the engagement on a website and what they do. Now, a tracking pixel is also a little code embedded in a web page. It's loaded through a website or through a Google Tag Manager, and when it's loaded, or even when the email is open, because it could track that as well, the tracking pixel is downloaded, sending information back to a server of the pixel provider, where we can, third-party advertising platforms can track all that. So cookies are basically like within the website that belongs to a host, and the tracking pixel belongs to a third-party tool or ad platform, and they all work together. Here's an example of retargeting right now with the third-party cookies. And, again, an example of, visiting the website. Then cookies are sent back to follow that person. They go to another website, and the cookies are seen, and from the ad platform, we're sending ads out to that person because they've been to that website before and they did not convert. So we're going to try to do that again. We've seen that all the time. So pixels are a little bit different. You know, they when a user lands on a page, the pixel from the ad platform is recorded and the action's completed. Like it captures lots of data based on the user behavior. You know, again, there's a retargeting pixel, conversion pixels, site visit pixels. Again, it's all about you know, these ad platforms that are trying to track people and make sure they can track, you know, their view and their click conversions on their ad platforms. This tracking pixel, you know, collects a lot of things here. I won't mention them. You can see them, but there's a lot of data that they pick up. Again, it's all about campaign optimization and learning about that user and marketing them properly. By the way, a little fun one here. If you end up as a user clearing your cache or cookies, then you're lost. So, you know, these ad platforms can't track you anymore. So you can do that, but the pixel tracking's gone, just so you know. Now with attribution, you know, now we get a little detail with all this different kind of modeling depending on, you know, the business goals, right? And so I try to, you know, describe that a little bit here with these little descriptions of what these attribution models are. It all depends on the business model, and we talk about that with clients. The first touch attribution is really best if you're, you know, launching a new product and you want to see how people are learning about you. So you're giving 100% of the credit to the first touch attribution. You're not worried about the conversions at the end. You just want to see where people are coming from or where they're clicking from first. Now, the last touch attribution is just the opposite, right? That means, you know, all you care about is that last touch. I'm not worried about customer interactions. We're doing lots of media. I just, you know, we want to know that, you know, it's so important to know just how they converted and what channel they use. But it doesn't take into account all those other touch points. So that's why there's compromises here, right? There's, you know, a model called linear attribution where you end up treating every touch point the same. And, you know, especially if you have a longer buying cycle where different messages may be just as important as the first message when people clicked. So, so it keeps everything equal. Now there's a time decay one. This says that the last click conversion is more important than the first click conversion, right? Because it doesn't matter if they come the first time, maybe they're not ready to buy yet. You know, it's going to take some time sending them emails, doing retargeting and other factors, but it's that last click is still most important, but we're not going to give up the other data points that people clicked or viewed to get to our website to do that conversion. You know, position base is common as well. U-shape. This is basically, I'm not worried about the middle stuff. You know, I care more about how they got there in the first place and what they ended up doing, right? So that's, again, you know, again, this is a discussion whether, you know, depending on the buying funnel, if all those middle activities you don't want to focus on, you just want to focus on the first and the last, and that's fine. So when you think about a model for your business, I mean, you know, we could talk about it, but, you know, think about the models that are right for your business. Here's a chart I created, by the way. Again, this will be in the handout of attribution model examples, just based on what we spoke about. And these are 3 different, you know, scenarios of, you know, of modeling where you have the first, last click, linear time, decay, and position. So just for example, you could see the percentages I gave. Everything has to equal 100. So like in the second bar here, we have Facebook, display ads, and organic search. So in each model, you might be giving Facebook 100% for the first touch, and then organic search 100% for the last touch. Linear means everything is equal. The time decay is Facebook is worth 15%, all the way up to organic search at 60. And then the position base, which is, you know, Facebook 40, organic search 40, everything else in the middle is 20. Hope that makes sense. Again, these are just modeling that you test, but it all goes back to your business model and what we just and how we feel these activities are more important than others. By the way, even Google Paid uses attribution as a default conversion. All these years before last year, they were using, in conversion tracking on Google Ads, is the last click conversion. Now there was other models you could pick, but last click was a default, but now it's not. Now attribution is a data driven, what they call it, which is basically all their AI data. They're looking at all these different keywords and what people search for. And like in this chart here, there's two different searches for Google Pixel 4 phones, right? The first, both say best tech gifts. Then you do another search for top rated phones, but only the top one says, now I'm looking for a Google Pixel 4, where the bottom did not on Google search. So the Google Pixel 4 gets 50% credit, but maybe the best tech gift keyword has some conversion attribution with a higher percent of using that word, because people are more likely to dig a deep search than to do a conversion. It's a little technical here, but you get the idea of why they use data-driven attribution, because you don't want to stop using a keyword if there's a contribution to a final keyword that does a conversion. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, it's technical, but you get the idea of why they use the attribution here, to give credit to the keywords that make sense. Now, you might have heard about this thing called look back windows. Well, 7 days, 30 days, 6 days, 90 days, all depends on the platform. This is basically a look back window, is the maximum number of days that elapse after your visitor's interaction with your ad in order to attribute the conversion to your campaign. And these are all options you can look at. Different platforms have different windows. So if you have like a 7-day window, it's a short window, right? And that's because it's ideal for quick purchases or impulse buys, especially if you have sales and deals going on. That's a 7-day window I like to look at, especially if there's a client having a short-term sale. Then you can look at the short look-back window. Now, 30 is pretty common. Generally it's a default with many platforms. But there's longer buying cycles, right? If somebody clicks and then converts 30 days later, then you have a longer sale going on. So again, it all depends on what our focus is and as a strategy of what kind of offers we're going to run with performance media. Because remember, we're not talking branding here. We're throwing branding out the window that has nothing to do with conversion, from a website. I mean, it's nice to see who visits the website, but that's a whole nother story. Everything here is about a conversion, again, it's a coupon, and we'll go into that, or a promo code or something where there's a conversion on a website. But if if you're doing 30-day window, that means you may have a longer sale, like a summer sale or something, or something else that's happening. And 60, 90 days are really long, but that's maybe a lot more for B2B, who has longer buying cycles, and you like to see where people came in and track that attribution all the way to the end. But there's different strategies that platforms offer. So, it all depends. And oh, by the way, here's another thing. You can actually compare a view and a click as a look back window. We talked about view conversions earlier because there is metrics out there. That's why these platforms exist, to track what we call a view conversion, right? Which is, I've seen the ad, and that could be part of your attribution model versus the click, right? And so it all depends. Now, again, it depends on the strategy you want to do. But view conversions are common if there's lots of touch points and you're doing retargeting and you have like a longer buyer's journey and you want to contribute lots of messages out to people before they go to a website. Where the click conversion means, or the click model is basically saying I clicked and I came back within 7 days or 30 days and clicked again. So that's more about performance, right? Because maybe because this mostly covers like the first touch, when somebody sees an ad and comes back later, or a click. So most advertisers in direct response use the click look back window. But yet again, you have to understand what this means and the balance to make sure we're tracking our campaigns right. So again, understanding your sales cycle, you got to consider the type of conversion event. Like I said, the click versus view we just mentioned. There's, if you're doing purchases and that's a short look back window. But if you're, giving away like newsletters or maybe subscriptions or some offers that are longer term, then you might consider more of a longer window. This is the kind of chart we do with NewsSpark, right? Where we meet with clients and we actually plan attribution based on their model. As you can see, the time frame of their offer, what conversions to track and what attribution model we want to pick as a decision. And then you can see there's view lookbacks and click lookbacks. So we go through each channel and whatever makes sense based on the client. That's why it's blank, and go through. Again, these are example channels from Google to social media to native networks, LinkedIn, and other things like that, even OTT and radio streaming. Everything that has a digital presence is a decision that we have to make in order to begin the tracking process. So here's a little fun tour just for chuckles and grins. We've got like the TikTok Pixel. They have the click windows and the view windows that they offer, in webs and their app. AdRoll is a robust retargeting platform, one of the most popular ones. They have attribution reports, view through credits, click credits, set all that up. Here's a little break in the action with iOS 14, which limits cookies on apps. And, so a lot of platforms with apps, they don't get much data, because of privacy issues from iOS 14. And that affects Facebook, by the way. So when you have these longer look back windows, doesn't affect Facebook because, Facebook, Instagram, because of those rules, they only offer a 1-day view through and a 1-day click or 7-day click as far as look back windows. So that's all you get. So that's how popular Facebook is. And you got to, follow these. So it's basically saying, I only get a chance to see the ad 1 day. And then if I make a conversion the next day, then that's the view conversion. If it's 2 days, doesn't count. Same thing with the click-throughs. You got 1 to 7 days and that's it. So if you want to track all mediums together, there's a scenario where we just keep everything on the 7-day click with all mediums, and we can track everything equally if you're using Facebook. But again, it all depends on the buying cycle. So it's a decision we have to make. For B2B, LinkedIn, because, a lot of companies, do have longer buying cycles. They go from up to 90 days for a click look back and a view look back. I think a 7-day view and a 30-day click is ideal for LinkedIn, but it all depends on the business model, and it's something we discussed if we're going to track conversions, through the LinkedIn reporting. Pinterest even does it. They have conversion events and pixels and tags, and their base is 30-day view and a 1-day view and a 30-day click. Native advertising platforms, Taboola and Outbrain, they have pixels, they have conversion windows. So does Google, by the way. They can go up to 90 days with their look back windows. You got to choose, again, the 30 days of default there. If you dig deep into Google Ads platform, they have a whole attribution reporting system here where you can track, the paths to conversion, models, devices, assisted conversions. Everything is there. Again, all we're trying to do is make the right decisions when, because of the attribution, that not everybody who clicks once converts. That's the whole idea. Spotify, streaming radio, Pandora, iHeart, all have pixels, all do the same thing, because we all want to give credit to streaming radio as well, who listen to the ads digitally and go to a website and do a conversion. We want to track that. Plenty of, if you're familiar with OTT and connected TV networks, they all give us pixels for the website. They can track, the devices that people are on, the apps that they're on, like a Hulu app versus, on the Fire Stick, as well as on the web. They've all got to be tracked, and the pixels do that. They get pretty crazy. Here's a sample report from a OTT platform I use. You can see all these different network streaming services, and there's you put your cost in there and site visits, all those kinds of things. And again, it's all based on the pixel. And just in this example, there's a lot of purchases from Pluto. Well, guess what? That's mostly, it's not a direct sale, right? It's all about the attribution, following people around. They track their IP address, and then they go and go to the website eventually within 30 days and do a conversion, right? Again, it's all tracking based on those pixels. Now there's another scenario too. You can see all these different ad platforms have their own pixels and everything. Now there are some tools out there like these that Rockerbox, Leads RX, and things like that measured, where they take all this different, they actually put their own universal pixels on websites, and they can track all the different channels together and come up with attribution reports that are all pretty similar. So it's pretty flexible here. So that exists as well for, of course, additional costs. But if we want to have a really robust tool with all the cross-channel data in one platform, these are some of the places we can go to. One more thing about tracking here, as far as that goes, is a UTM code, which is a tag that's put on a URL. I'm sure we've all seen that, where you can track specific parameters, the source of the campaign, the medium, the campaign name, and the creative version as well, because we want to track all that. It's all based on Google Analytics data. So when a user clicks on an ad, the code's appended, and we can track all that. Like here's an example of me tracking a campaign called Media Tracking on LinkedIn. So you can see the source is LinkedIn, the medium social, the content's video, and the campaigns and media tracking. There's plenty of ways to do that, by the way. I always track things with this Google Analytics Chrome extension, by the way, that is pretty robust and helps me, tag all my ads so I can track everything. Okay, here's another way to look at measurement. How's everybody doing? Okay? Okay, good. Obviously, the most common for lead generation is forms, which redirect typically to a thank you page. Track all that. If you're e-commerce, we're tracking purchases, of course. So that's all like the end game as far as conversions go. It's the ultimate. And, with the Google Analytics 4 that I use right now, and everybody should be using it by now, using, tracking the conversion paths of all the different channels. This is early, mid, and late touch points. We all track all this stuff with Google Analytics 4. Again, we're trying to make business decisions on what channels to use. This is a path length report, how many touch points it takes to do a final conversion from the first touch. And then they can compare models as well, last click versus first click, and see a comparison. So in this one, paid search had 41 first click conversions. That's the assisted conversion. And then the last click, 29. So that's a big difference. Google actually tracks as another conversion, store visits. I'm not going to go into detail here, but you can do that with the setup here with the location extensions and track people who actually click on an ad. Then they follow your mobile phone to a store, and they can track a in-store conversion. Again, you'll get all that when I hand it out. More detail here. Now, typical broadcast TV and on-air radio tracking is more difficult, obviously, but there are different tools out there that kind of align spot logs that integrate with different tools from the TV and radio stations to get into your analytics. And so here's an example, a crazy example, when a spot might have run and got a lot more website traffic lift. Again, there's no conversions here, it's just lift. And sometimes you don't know what station's doing it, but again, it's an overall effect of your TV campaign. Some tools can really get crazy with radio buys. Like here's an example of a tool that we use that combines radio spots with website traffic every day, and as you can see the response by each individual station. All these kinds of reports, even with organic, with branding and things like that. I mean, you can track overall site lift and overall increasing conversions, but it's not easy to track which radio station or which TV station brought them, right? Because it's overall. So we have to track media with an offer, which is pure direct response. Are you having a sale, a special offer, a coupon, promo codes? Again, that's something we can ideate together when we start, building offers to drive traffic and leads and sales to your website and track everything. It's a combination. So our typical media buy, we cover the goals and we discuss offers and the timelines and the media plan. Then we got to build the creatives, implement the tracking, of course, and buy the media, measure results. So non-digital channel tracking, again, is harder, direct mail, print, radio, TV. But, we can try promo codes, right? We have a special deal. Mention promo code 12345 on our website and get a special deal. Or mention it on the air, or go into a store. Whatever it is, this is another way to promote, advertise these things, especially with radio, where it's hard to see, obviously, because it's only audio. So you have to have something memorable, and we can do that with different radio stations to track. Unique phone numbers, that works with direct mail and print. Like I said, maybe radio and TV, more likely on television where you can see it. But also, if you're just doing digital and you want to track, if you're an advertiser who relies on the phone number, like lawyers or plumbers or whatever, then you can track what we call dynamic number insertion, and we have tools that do that. So we align a different phone number with a different digital medium so we can track all that. How many calls did we get from Facebook versus Google, for example? Text messaging is something else that we can track. And, again, that works with, TV and possibly radio as well. Here's some examples of a health product where we're doing cable TV, broadcast, streaming radio, things like that. We have a different text keyword to a phone number. And each keyword is aligned to a different medium, so we can track that. Vanity URLs are basically a memorable website that you can, promote on television. You've seen that, or direct mail and things like that, where it's memorable, but actually when you type it in, it redirects to your actual landing page, where again, there's the Google Analytics UTM tracking, so we can track where they came from. Here's a bunch of examples of all that. Again, this is a hard product. You see cable TV, broadcast, radio, direct mail, newspaper. So they all have vanity URLs, and then they redirect to a specific website with a specific, again, Google Analytics UTM parameter, so we can track, where they came from and what message and all those kinds of things. QR codes as well. You're starting to see them around on television a lot too. It's a test. You can also do it on, direct mail and print, but quick, get that phone out. But, it goes right to a website with an offer. It's not going to go too crazy with some of these charts here, but you can see there's a lot of, testing that we can do. Here's like how we're tracking, different TV spots. If we're going to buy OTT and cable TV and broadcast and Hulu and 2 demos and third-party data overlays and first-party data overlays. This is on my website, but here's an example. You need 12 different commercials with different tracking, right? Because you want to track the demos, you want to track the audience data. Again, it's a little exaggerated, but doable. Media tracking for each channel, OTT, cable, Spotify, local radio, form leads, text leads, call leads, even chat leads, and QR code leads. Compile them all. Example of a test plan, you have search campaign, Instagram, iHeartRadio, and OTT, and you have different offers in each one. So you need 7 landing pages, and you might be testing multiple audience segments with those offers. And then we're going to set up tracking, make sure conversions are set up with calls and forms and promo codes and those kinds of things. And you put that all together, and here we need 16 different ads. I know it's a little exaggerated, but again, it's important to track everything here. And, the goal reporting here, TV, radio, Facebook display, how many leads did you get, or sales, your media cost per lead, and here's the assisted and view conversions as well. And sometimes you may want to, in your analytics, even give certain values to conversions, because forms may be more valuable than an assisted conversion, which it is, so not all conversions are treated equal. So we have to keep that in mind. So eventually you end up doing a weighted conversions, and here's Facebook and YouTube testing 2 different segments, your media cost, your cost per weighted goal. And then at the end of the day, when your campaign is over, we want to make a decision, reallocate money, keep the campaign going, tweak the bids, tweak the segments, or cancel segments altogether. It goes with the same thing with tracking creative too. You can track ads, track headlines, see what kind of conversions you got, cost per conversion, then make decisions on your creative as well. And then eventually we'll have an analysis basically by medium, by market of all the different things we're doing. Sessions for video URLs and text and organic traffic, conversion lift, conversion rate lift, and spend and cost per conversion. All these kinds of things can be tracked so we can make decisions. Are we out of breath yet? Because with all this, we can track mediums and segments and creatives and offers. We just got to sit down and do it the right way. Because we want to make sure you're not wasting media dollars, because we want to know what combinations of mediums and offers work best to generate conversions and sales. All right, that's all the tracking part. Okay, so now we're going to go into a little bit of AI like we promised. And basically AI is new, but it's interesting, and you can actually save money with creative, especially if you're doing offers. You can understand the data, you can make personal ads, create unique ads, and optimize on the fly. There's plenty of tools out there. Some of the tools that we use, Ad Creative AI, creates ads, moments notice, with different headlines, different messages, different audiences, and it gets them out to the ad networks, and we can optimize pretty quickly on these different creative ideas. And then, Pencil's another one that works with Facebook and Instagram on creating, ads and variations quickly so we can test them all and optimize. We do have one, with video, and we do TV ads with this one tool that we use where we can make high impact video ads. And basically what happens is, we have this tool, we can create, there's thousands of templates to pick from. And then we just have to, add your branding to the tool and create a really compelling low cost TV ad that promotes your offer. We can even use, you can see there's plenty of templates, plenty of styles and formats that we can pick from. Again, it beats going out on location, right? And spending, thousands of dollars for a short-term TV buy. Now I can get you on TV, at scale with these tools. And we can overlay testimonials, because we have testimonial tools, because especially with direct response, you want to have a testimonial along with the message. And then we're going to overlay the offers, as well as how we're going to track it, like we mentioned before. So, really compelling, creative, AI-generated TV ad with your branding, with your offers, with testimonial. It makes a really, really powerful way to advertise, especially on television, where you couldn't do that before, but now you can. But at the end of the day, you deserve to know, did it work? And that's what we're here for. So if you need me to put these we can help put these programs in place. I can assist your team. I can even be added to your team as a white label. Lots of options to use NewSpark. And there's my contact info. Keep that on. And there is an appendix here I won't go into right now, but I'll do that in the descriptions. So that's it. I wanted to stop sharing. And I wanted to thank everybody for joining today. I mean, it's a lot there for sure. And, I have an ebook version with more description. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is run marketing campaigns and media campaigns that are trackable with compelling offers and promotions, and a way to track them so we can tell you what works and optimize it so that you're not wasting your money. It's not about buying a great radio station. It's about making sure you're getting a conversion lift using the right mediums, and we have to test it the right way. And that's what we do. So thanks for watching, and we'll be in touch later.